In this module, you will learn about many of the key elements of writing a discussion. A discussion often summarizes the main findings of a study, links these findings to other literature, addresses limitations of the study, and possible future directions. As described in the book Doing Developmental Research, one way to learn about writing discussions is by exploring various discussions in the literature. Let's begin by doing that together now. Open the paper, Young Infants' Neural Processing of Objects is Affected by Eye Gaze Direction and Emotional Expression. This paper is published in the journal PLOS I. It is written by Stephanie Hale, Lisa Wise, and Tricia Striano. Let's turn to the discussion. The first sentence reads, "Infants allocated increased attention towards objects that were potentially dangerous, namely objects that had been gaze cued by an adult with a fearful expression." As we see, the findings are clearly stated. Later in the discussion, the authors write, "However, alternative explanations for these results should be taken into account." It is important to highlight alternative explanations in your discussion. It is better if you highlight the alternative explanations as opposed to having a reviewer reject your paper, potentially because you did not highlight these alternative explanations. We see later in the discussion that the authors write, "The current experiment is the first to demonstrate 3-month-old infants' sensitivity to fearful expressions together with referential eye gaze." Here, we can clearly see what is new about the findings and how they expand upon other literature. Later in the discussion, the authors write, "From an evolutionary perspective, the neural mechanisms examined in this study are highly adaptive as they may directly contribute to survival in potentially dangerous situations." From this sentence, we can see the general relevance and breadth, which may be relevant for early development, anthropology, neuroscience, and affective sciences. Now let's look at only the first sentence of some published papers together. The first paper is The Goldilocks Effect. Human infants advocate attention to visual sequences that are neither too simple or too complex. This paper is authored by Celeste Kidd, Stephen Piantadosi, and Richard Aslin. We see the first sentence of the discussion reads, "The results of the experiments reported here have important implications for 2 interrelated hypotheses concerning infants' attention." Now let's turn to the paper, Creativity in the Wild, Improving Creative Reasoning Through Immersion in Natural Settings. We can see that the paper is authored by Ruth Ann Atchley, David Strayer, and Paul Atchley. This paper is published in PLOS I. Now let's turn to the discussion. The first sentence reads, "Testing high-order cognitive skills in a natural environment is a challenge." As you can see, there are different approaches to beginning a discussion. Now let's look at the paper, Influence of Affordances in the Home Environment on Motor Development of Young Children in Japan. This paper is published in Child Development Research. The first sentence of the discussion reads, "With the present study, we translated the English version of the AHEMD-SR into Japanese and examined the relationship between Japanese children's 18 to 42 months of age, motor ability, and affordances associated with the home environment." Our last paper is titled Parental Reports on Touchscreen Use in Early Childhood. It is published in PLOS I. It is authored by Alejandrina Cristia and Amanda Seidel. The first sentence of the discussion reads, "We discuss our results regarding the 3 key research questions laid out in the introduction, with a view to informing 2 communities." We see here that there are many approaches when you begin your discussion. Analyze various approaches, and remember that just because something is published does not mean that it is perfect.